All right, everybody, welcome to the Wednesday Wellness Call. I am excited to do this call every 2 weeks because it is just so much knowledge from a great person, Mr. Daniel, and his lovely wife, Keisha, which is not with him today. But we are so happy to be with this company and be involved with this company that they represent, which is theirs. They do it all. They're the manufacturer, the formulator, and the distributor of their own product. But I got to tell you guys before I bring Daniel on, in my 63-year life, I've been involved with quite a few different health and wellness companies, and I just got to tell everybody, I'm not saying that they're bad, but I'm not saying that they're good. What I'm saying is most of, well, 99% of the health and wellness companies I've ever been involved with, I tried their products and I used their products, and I just gotta say, it never really did that much for me. Now I had people on my team that helped them tremendously. So I stayed with it, but it never really did much for me. So for the first time in my life with this company, that Daniel, I'm gonna let him give you the name because I mean I can do it. Nexus, I'm not Nexus. Oh God. I was on the phone with somebody from a Nexus company. For the first time in my life, I finally got my hands on a product that has done something for me. And not only for me, it's done something for somebody very personal in my life, which is my mother. And a lot of you here have gotten involved and used this product. And what I'm going to tell you is everyone that has used this product that I have talked to and I'm aware of has nothing but great things to say about this product. And when you think about what it is, when he explains it to you, it just makes absolute sense how this stuff works. So, with that said, I want to introduce my buddy out of California, Mr. Daniel Lyons. You got the floor, sir.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for that. And as always, it's always my pleasure to talk to you, to talk to all of the subscribers for the Fun Saver Network. I want to thank Shane and yourself for inviting me in just to really be part of it. Something that's so special is when you can help folks in a way that is so wonderful that you can help people heal themselves. I think is really what I think is a great terminology I like to use. By using the skin, the largest organ in your body, to supplement all of the things you normally would through your mouth, we find out that the skin is a better mouth, is a way I like to put it. It is an easier way to absorb nutrition through supplementation. And the skin is a wonderful focal point, and that is basically what Nutra Relief, my company, does. We've been doing it since 2009, where I started with the 15 doctors on the board of directors who had a bunch of different wild ideas about all their life, culmination of all these different ideas they had for creating formulations and products. But out of it, I really come down to two of my main partners that I had at that time that had science backed in terms of the understanding of how we would go about this. And we make a product called liposomal topical creams. We use a liposomal delivery technology, which we have patented and registered, called liposomal delivery technology, LDT. And this is so beneficial because your skin is really a focal point that you can target nutrition directly. And a lot of times people don't necessarily understand how that goes about. That is this kind of a scientific process, but it's a microscopic beach ball, if you will, that's very small that we can put the bioactives into in the process of our formulation of these emollient-rich creams that are absorbed very quickly. And the liposome literally has the same constituent of a word I'll use, phospholipid, which surrounds this beach ball that every cell in our body has. Every cell has a phospholipid shell. Every blood uh, cell has a phospholipid shell. When my creams are applied to your body, to any part of your body, your face, your legs, your arms, they're delivering these bioactives directly. But the beauty is that the cell or a blood cell has the same shell of the constituent of what my cream is made of, a phospholipid from a plant-based sunflower, lecithin. They welcome each other together. And this is why the absorbability and delivery of the system of all these bioactives into your circulatory system is so fast and effective. So it's a bit of a scientific explanation, but needless to say, liposomal topical creams are so effective to target pain, neuropathy, sleep, um, blood pressure, all the ailments of inflammation that we're experiencing in our daily lives. And so this is the basis, a simple explanation of what my creams are about. But there's all kinds of topics surrounding that. Why do I have these issues? Where does my inflammation come from? And how do these creams work? So this is what the Wellness Wednesday is all about. Talking to Ron on a very informal basis, taking questions from folks that have utilized the creams, or if you're the first time you're here, talk to me more or ask me questions about the function and how these creams work. But today, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about form and function. How do these creams work? How do they deliver their payloads? And a topic of information that I'm curious about is something that, if we want to talk about it, Ron will talk to you about it, is seeing if we're interested in this topic. I'm fascinated by a new topic for me because it's a new organ of the body that many might know about. But when I start at the top of the conversation with the skin is the largest organ of your body because of the dynamic of the skin's, all the areas of the skin. One of these newer topics I want to talk about was a thing called fascia or fascia, fascia tissue, and the function of it, because this becomes the second largest organ in your body. I want to talk a little bit about why that's so important for all of us to kind of understand. It's new, it's a newer topic. You might be familiar with it, but Ron, you interested in fascia?
Yeah, I absolutely am. 100%.
It's interesting. It's a very interesting topic because fascia is really the connective tissue, the stringy connective tissue that surrounds every part of your body. It provides support to your muscle, tendons, ligaments, organs, nerves, joints, and bones. This is like a spider web that literally holds all of our organs in place. And this stretches from the very tip of the top of the back of your head all the way down through all of its functional purposes of holding our organs together very close to the topical skin, yet controls all of the tissues and organs associated with our body. We're familiar with plantar fasciitis, or whatever you want to call it, but it is very painful. I've experienced myself a couple different times. And what's happening here is when your fascia tightens up, it can restrict movement and cause very painful health conditions. Um, it's really intriguing to me because this is the most interesting organ in that it has sensitivity cells in it that are 6 times as sensitive as muscular tissue. So when you're feeling pain, you're feeling the pain from your fascia. It has 6 times the ability to really sense inflammation and pain. So when you're hurting your shoulder, your knee, or your ankle, you're feeling your fascia. Your fascia is screaming to you. And so a lot of the times that what you've done in terms of sports injury or inflammation is your fascia is the first thing that's really articulating this pain to you. And the reason I'm focused on the fascia is because this is so close to the top of the skin layer of where we apply all of our topical creams that that's why you're seeing in my creams the fast acting response of the penetration. Because when you do have pain, typically, or inflammation in areas of your body, arthritic condition, neuropathy, that's going to be expressed by the fascia. And a lot of times people are so amazed at how fast my creams work. And it's interesting in studying how the fascia goes about relieving some of the muscular pain. But this function of what it does is something that's only been really discovered in the last couple of years. And I kind of really wanted to just talk about that and let people know about that. That is one of the functions of how inflammation can be relieved so quickly. And the other cause of inflammation of the fascia is our sedentary lifestyle. So that is really kind of one of the things that's so important to me is the sedentary lifestyle of sitting for a long time as we get older or office jobs is how we really get these chronic aches and pains of getting older. Now, I just celebrated my birthday. I'm 70 years old. I just celebrated it on Sunday. And so I'm happy to
Happy birthday. Your
thank.
birthday was on Easter, really?
Yeah, it's rare. It's happened,
Happy
but it's
birthday.
evolved to that on Easter Sunday. So I
Wow.
just came back from celebrating, but I get a lot of compliments for looking younger than I am, but I feel great, and I really owe it all to really, I think, utilizing the creams myself and really paying attention to what is going on in my body and like to bring these topics of conversation to you, new studies that I've researched. But I'm really currently taking a deep dive into this whole idea of what we can do about flexibility, what we can do about the inflammation of our fascia and the relief of that. And it's just another topic of people that I think really it can be interesting. We can explore it in depth, but I just kind of wanted to follow through with that. The composition of your fascia is really almost like an aqueous spider web. It's made of collagen and hyaluronic acid or hyaluron. So it's a really an aqueous spider web, but it's this really suit that really surrounds us. And it's really important to pay attention to the stretching and exercises and yoga are all these things that are so beneficial to the health of the fascia, but it's going to be really something that is really expressed. A lot of you that might be involved in chiropractic care or have chiropractics working, say if you're in sports or go to a chiropractor, a lot of them specialize in one of their specialties called myofascial manipulation, and that's specifically what they're doing. They're stretching and pulling the parts of your body. Sometimes you think they're just there to crack your back or just move you into positions, but this myofascial practice is really trying to release the tension that's in
Mhm.
our body. And I kind of was, intrigued by that because the Trauma Max product, which is so popular in the Fun Saver network because of its ability to relieve pain, that's my secondary name of what I call Trauma Max. It's called tension relief. I'm kind of restricted with the FDA a lot of times of making claims about pain or trying to talk about pain in advertising, pain relief. That's almost restricted. So when you can't say those things, we use other words to describe what's the function of my Trauma Max. And it truly is tension relief. And that's the key to fascia releasing that tension, releasing so much of that inflammation that we're experiencing. I think a lot of people are always going, oh, my shoulder, I dislocated my shoulder, or I threw my shoulder out, or I've got bursitis or a golf injury, or like you, Ron, a bowling injury. I overdid it. Well, that's the fascia screaming at you, first off. That's the first thing. And the fascia offers assistance structurally to our muscles to take that pain and to help in pain relief by bringing in its function of the fascia the idea of tension relief. But if you're tensed up, you're hurt, you've got inflammation, it's the fascia, which is really, really telling you what the story is. Um, Going back to plantar fasciitis, this is probably the experience most people have. And it's really a mistake for a lot of them to think that they should go to surgery or get a lot of these techniques that are necessary for plantar fasciitis. It feels like, personally, knowing what it is, it feels like you've got a bone spur. It almost feels like bone on bone at the bottom of your heel of your foot. But if you realize it, it's the fascia that wraps from the tip of your toes around your ankle all the way up to your hip connectors, and then it connects another fascia sheath. But it's that pliability of just the stretching exercises that truly is what will get you the relief. And it's amazing relief when you do have that to find out it's just the pliability or the stretching of your feet and manipulation of the fascia that will relieve that severe, intense pain of bone spur for the plantar fasciitis. Benefits of this, one of the creams I have is going to be the Trauma Max in terms of offering that with the L-arginine L-citrulline is bringing vasodilation, additional blood flow, and pain relief with the Boswellia and Arnica in that cream. A wonderful pain relief cream. So just kind of a top of the story here with this webinar about fascia and pain relief.
Well, I will tell you, I also have a problem sometimes, Daniel, like when I do bowl. I mean, we've covered my shoulder already. And I think this applies to what you're talking about. My sometimes my right rib cage, not every time, but sometimes my right rib cage from throwing that 15-pound ball, it feels like I have a broken rib. And I know I don't. I know I don't have a broken rib, but man, it's sore. I mean, to the point where if I sleep, I've solved my shoulder problem with sleeping now. But sometimes when I sleep on my right shoulder and my elbow gets into my ribs sleeping, wake up, you got to turn over.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's what you're saying. It's that those strands that cover my ribs and kind of helps protect them. It's a strain or whatever it is. But I will tell you, I do use Trauma Max on those muscles on my ribs, and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's excellent. And that is specific. And that's kind of what I was so fascinated by this. So for so long, surgeons in doing operations on organs, they were always kind of dissecting fascia, moving it out of the way, really not paying attention to that. They're getting to the organ to do the operation, do the repair. And in talking to surgeons, which are on my team, it's funny how they also reiterated to the, yeah, for a long time, we were just getting the fascia out of the way and we'd sew people up. And now, recently, in the last few years, is when we've been paying very close attention to making sure we align the fascia in repair to almost the direction that it is in, like, I want to say a flank steak or something like that. The direction that the grain is going when you're looking at like a flank steak, that
Mhm.
if you'll look at a flank steak, you go by one, you'll see these white membranes that are running through the flank steak. And I advise if you buy a flank steak, you make sure you've got those things running, not big, greasy, you know, um, bunches of that sheath that's on it, but running through. And that's how fascia works. It's through and in all of our muscles and surrounds them. But by sleeping, and that's once again, you mentioned that the time you sleep, you're in a position, your elbows tucked, and you're on one side, sleeping on your side. That inactivity of just sleep pressurized against your ribs, the fascia is being compressed. And in that process, and just for hours, it will reflect in pain. You'll think, oh, what did I do to my ribs? That's what I'm talking about. Its expression of pain is so profound because it sense the nerve cells in it that you'll sit there and go, oh, I bruised my rib, but I
Mhm.
don't remember taking an impact or did I bump into something? No, it's fascia expressing itself. And one of its main expressions of inflammation is inactivity, that dormant sense of it not moving. It's so pliable, so much a rubber band aspect of our existence in terms of assisting in functionality and flexibility and tension relief in our lives. So tension is caused by the fascia being inflamed. And that goes from the tip of your head, migraine, neck, all of those issues that were associated with musculature could be associated with fascia, and it's something to pay attention to. But just another reason why topically, because of the closeness to the epidermis, the skin is where we're applying pain creams or any of my creams, the receptivity to that expression of pain or inflammation is so rapid in utilizing my cream versus taking an NSAID or pain relief orally. The skin is such a wonderful location for supplementation to target nutrition. I'll say nutritional in supplements: magnesium, glutathione, nitric oxide, pain relief, B12, D3, all of these things that are so effective can be used topically. And this is the full array of the Nutra Relief clinical line that we offer for all of the Fun Saver Network subscribers.
Mm, mm. Pretty amazing. And Daniel, we've talked about this a couple of times, and I just want to say it again. Your product is so well received, and we have so many great testimonies of people that use it. Fun Saver Network has so many different avenues, and we're such a fantastic company, and we appreciate you and your wife wanting to be part of us. But if we were to strip everything away other than Daniel and Kesia with Nutra Relief, we could literally go build a business with your product. We could, without anything else. It's that special and it's that well received that we could literally go build a company and build teams with just that product. Now, you would have to be around more. You would have to do more Zooms with us and things of that nature. But I mean, but we could do that. We literally could do that. So just having Nutra Relief with everything else we're doing, it's such a great thing because you can choose what you want to do. And every other Wednesday, every 2 weeks when we have this Wellness Wednesday, I just can't wait. And I think everybody should literally be, and I hate to say this, but be taking advantage of Daniel's knowledge and Daniel's company when he gets on here and talks about what he does. And you should be literally inviting everyone you know, because here's what I see. Every 2 weeks, I see questions about people asking for other folks, and that's perfect. We love to answer questions.
Yeah, sure.
But what if you were to bring that person on here where they could get the information directly? Not everybody can do that, I know, because some people have to work and things of that nature. But what if that's possible? Or when I do record this like I'm recording now, what if you took the recording and sent it to these people that you know is hurting? I mean, truly hurting. And this could truly help each and every one of them. And before I turn it back over to you, Daniel, my buddy Michael Bonsall, i.e. Santa, happy birthday, man. Today's his birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So Daniel, I'm super, super happy that you guys are here, that we kind of put our peanut butter into others' chocolate. And we've come together with two great companies to help tremendous amounts of people because our heart's in the same place. We love helping people, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, I'm excited about building. I'm excited about how the network is growing. I'm excited about the Fun Saver network in terms of its ability to really offer something that's so unique to people because, Kesey and I have, been approached for years and years, and we've looked at the opportunities of being a white label product
Mm-hmm.
and in all of these adventures, they've always, had corruption of the top and they always wanted to take something very, very, very cheaply made. And that was where the problem always became is because
Yep.
I make a very quality, unique, it's like no other. I don't advertise on Amazon. I don't advertise on eBay. And we're making an exclusive opportunity because I built my brand around clinical practitioners, around naturopaths and functional doctors and environmental doctors, toxologists, people that are really looking to see that our creams really offer an effective alternative to just another pill. So many people are trying to get off of all of these pharmaceuticals that are so destructive for them, the side effects, and are looking to pursue a wellness plan that is basically trying to get us out of the way by not doing prescriptive drugs that have so many side effects, but what other alternatives are there? And in lieu of trying to take another supplement or another diabetic neuropathy or another blood pressure medication or another statin with
Mm-hmm.
all of these side effects, it's really the body wants to heal itself. And so the knowledge that we can acquire in a situation of practical medicine at this time or the naturopathic path currently that's going on is let the body heal itself by supplementing to the deficiencies that we all have. And that's easily as done as you're all going to have a doctor's appointment annually. And in that, you get a blood test. And in that blood test, this is where it's always a mystery. It seems that people don't really dive into what is their current condition. And they'll go to their doc and they'll say, "Hey, how am I doing?" And he'll either say, "Hey, you got high blood pressure, you got a fatty liver, or whatever." And all he does is prescribe something for you, which is going to be a pharmaceutical that you'll never get off. He'll never say, "Good news, you're done taking that pharmaceutical. You're done taking that high blood pressure medication." That's because the root cause of the inflammation and these circumstances are you need to dive into your blood test by saying, what am I not getting through food? What is it that I'm not getting through um, taking my food in a form that giving me the nutrition that I need? And what does that result in? Deficiencies of magnesium, of calcium, of nitric oxide, of glutathione, of testosterone, of hormonal deficiencies, and blood pressure issues, neuropathies, the inability to metabolize. All these gut inflammation issues are a direct result of liver inflammation, the inability to properly digest our food. And it's because of the quality of the food we have. And so using the topical creams to try to regulate the body and give the body just what it needs is going back to the blood test. If you find from your doctor in an annual visit that you need to raise your D3 levels, you can do that very quickly, easily with a D3 topical cream that we provide together with a K2. And the functions of each of these creams are what we dive into every Wellness Wednesday. We break them down. We say, why did I formulate this? Why did I put K2 or MenoQ7? Why did I put magnesium citrate together with the melatonin cream? Why do we use 10% niacinamide for arthritic conditions? We dive deep into each one of these creams, or within the context of the Q&A on these Wellness Wednesdays, what can I take for an arthritic condition? What can I take to not get a hip replacement? How can I rectify a bone-on-bone application? What can I do about psoriasis or my skin condition or foggy brain or dementia? How do I help my loved ones to try to recuperate from something with lack of circulation to the brain? All these topics are wonderful, but annually, when you get a blood test, you should ask your doctor, what am I deficient in? What's recently happened in blood tests are they getting simpler and simpler for your average layperson to read and go, they got these little dials now that go, you're out of the proper position. You're deficient. You should be at this marker point. So yeah, low magnesium, we can take magnesium topically and we can regulate within a month's time, 30 days. You can elevate these levels. You don't have to take prescriptions or other things. Blood pressure, the same. You got high blood pressure. Nutraflow Max, vasodilation, offer nitric oxide, and lower your blood pressure naturally without having to take these blood pressure medications or multiple blood pressure medications. So, we deep dive into all of this. What I really want to see, Ron, and what I really hope that folks that come here, when I see the same people, I really want them to offer to anyone who's interested to come to these Wellness Wednesdays and hear or
Yes.
ask questions about what is this company all about? What can this company do? Because by getting answers to their questions of this line of products, it gives the number one reason that they should join the Fund Saver Network. Because
Mhm.
other than going to my website and paying premium retail costs, you have an incredible discount that's only available through Fund Saver Network. I'll give those discounts on a Black Friday or a Christmas weekend, various occasions throughout the year. Kesia will offer them, but you're getting these every single day from the Fund Saver Network, and that's
24/7. And that's because of you guys allow us to do so. And let me say thank you for that. Let me say thank you for that. But one of the things that I want to respond to, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. But I wanted to respond to one of the comments, and one of the comments says, "Is there a reference book with these creams? What they can do, for example, by problem? What cream does what?" So let me answer that question. I know you're a member, April, and if you go to your dashboard, you have a link that's built for you about the creams. It's in there, right? And all you have to do is share that link with the people, and they can go through and click on each one, and it opens up and it gives a description of each one and what it's for. Now, even better than that, if they happen to just buy a cream on there to try, when they buy that cream, they automatically become that free member. Automatically, just by purchasing that cream on that site. We've made this very simple for people to bring people on board. I mean, how many times have you guys been in a health and wellness company, and every 2 weeks, the person that makes that product in that health and wellness company is doing a webinar for an hour, sometimes more, to tell you everything about that product, why it's different than everything else, and why it works? Go ahead and put in the comment section how many times this has ever happened for you in a health and wellness company. I'll wait. I should be seeing zeros. Look, I've been doing this a long time, and I've never been in a position where the owner of the health and wellness company, the products that we're using, is getting on a webinar every 2 weeks and spending their time to help us understand, everybody in the company, exactly what they are, why it works, and what makes them different. And with that being said, that's going to segue me right into the next thing, Daniel. I am seeing all over the internet, I don't know why, maybe it's just because of my algorithms, but I am seeing on the internet, including Facebook, people are now really talking about glutathione. Now, the glutathione they're talking about is talking about the pills glutathione or the powder that you mix, and they're talking about the liquid that you drink.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that your glutathione is different,
Mm-hmm.
but can you please explain? Because I see people commenting on Facebook, "Oh, I need it. I want it." Can you please explain to everybody here why your glutathione is different than what they're seeing?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Absolutely an awesome question. And I'm really glad to hear about it because that's people looking to try to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason I created the glutathione plus, and I say plus because of the additional ingredients that are in it, not just glutathione, was because everyone's really suffering a lot of the times when you go to a doctor, a clinical doctor associated with any function, thyroid function. A lot of women, when they got, guess what? I've got diagnosed, I've got hypothyroidism. They're starting to get a dysfunction of the thyroid. And it's usually later in life that happens, but it's happening earlier and earlier. And the root cause of hypothyroidism is a liver function. The liver, in this case, is basically the control tower. The liver basically tells the thyroid how and when it sends the message to secrete the T1, T3 hormones necessary for thyroid function to be effective. So when you've got this inactivity or something's deficient in the thyroid, the first thing a doctor will do is, oh, you need to go get a glutathione drip. Now, the idea of this, or take glutathione, the idea of this is not that glutathione is good for the thyroid. The glutathione is good for detoxifying the liver. That's very
Mm-hmm.
key to understand here. You're basically working at, when you think of glutathione, you're thinking of, oh, I want to detoxify. That is what glutathione really is. In a tripeptide, in a amino acid, a triamino acid, what it's doing, it's beneficial in its ability to detoxify the liver, to actually take and eliminate some of the heavy metals, some of the bad actors associated with what the liver has picked up in this crazy digestive system we have of all of the food sources that we've been getting. And it's a direct result of, at the top of the hour, we were talking about our
Mm-hmm.
choices of food, the junk, the processed food, the alcohol associated with that, so destructive to the liver. But even everyone, the advent of this non-alcoholic fatty liver is really something that's very, very intense and really affecting people's gut microbiome and its ability to function. So glutathione is now becoming the darling of detoxification. And number two, very difficult to absorb glutathione through the gut. You've
Mm.
got an inflammation of the gut to begin with. Now you're going to try to take a supplemental through the gut, notorious for inability to really absorb it through the gut. When you have inflammation, and most of us do, and I have metabolic syndrome. Through a surgical operation at 14, I've really got restricted ability to absorb and digest food. So many people do for many, many, many reasons. But in my case, as a young man, and I suffered from that, all different situations, but I can't even digest cabbage, raw vegetables. What would be normally, oh, let me just have a raw carrot or celery, these beautiful, it will get obstructed. It won't pass through my digestive system without getting hung up, and I can get obstruction. It's that's as dangerous as it can get. Obstruction of my stomach, and nothing's going either way, and it's very scary hospital time to go. But glutathione and its function is what it does is go through a process of detoxifying the liver. One of the things that I have in my glutathione plus is it's really important whenever I look at a formulation for glutathione, or even see another liposomal or an oral liposomal, which we can talk about glutathione, if it doesn't have NAC, N-acetylcysteine, as a cofactor in it, you got half of the equation. And N-acetylcysteine is something that's so essential to helping folks in terms of all of those allergies that are associated, the antihistamines, all of these things are associated. The liver is really, if you really start looking at all these studies that have been coming out with functional medicine and naturopathic over this last decade, where people are really focused, the root cause of almost all of the autoimmune diseases is the microbiome, the gut, and its relationship to the liver. So the liver is doing the heavy lifting. The liver is the garbage man. And it's a singular dude that I see that is overwhelmed with the garbage. And it's literally just shutting down. It's literally just petering out. It's literally just saying, I can't handle it. So if it's so busy processing these pharmaceuticals that, I mean, how does it even determine where this this analog of chemistry has come from? And this overdosing of 100 milligrams, 500 milligrams of these exotic pharmaceuticals that have so many side effects, it can't spend its time functioning on sending the signals to the thyroid of what it should be doing. It's overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed with the inflammation. So obviously, we've got a lot of gut issues, but once again, the direct cause, or why people are so attracted to glutathione, is they're involved in looking at detoxification. Welcome Glutathione Plus from Nutra Relief. The
Mm.
ability to take this cream, literally take the applicator and put 2 to 3 pumps on the side right above your belt line, and rub the glutathione directly onto your liver area there, which is just on the side of your spine, right at the belt level. So you're directly having the ability to target inflammation, fatty liver, or the function of trying to detoxify your liver. Now, that's systematic effect. You put it there on your liver, you're basically targeting the liver with a nutritional factor of glutathione, but it will be systematic in that it gets into the bloodstream. It's circulating in the area of the liver, but it goes throughout your circulatory system. What people don't really realize is that every drop of blood in your entire system of the quarts of blood in your body, every 7 minutes, it passes through every drop of your blood through your thyroid gland. Your thyroid is really the protector of all of the potential blood diseases that you could get through leaky gut syndrome. Now, when you think about leaky gut, it kind of gives you a visual of letting you know, well, what is that? That's when your inability to properly digest all of this unique American diet that we have, it's not properly being digested and excreted. So, too much time in transit, sitting in fermentation in your gut, it's penetrating the walls of our stomach lining and entering our bloodstream. The thyroid is there to, when you've got pathogens of undigested food, leaky gut syndrome, which is really the cause of skin diseases and inflammation of the skin. That's where it's generated from, is that leaky gut, the inability to properly digest entirely. And the thyroid then is the guardian of trying to clean up some of the blood that's coming through. And if you've got hypothyroidism, you've got dysfunction, it's increasing these autoimmune reactions. Now,
Mm,
people always, where did I get this autoimmune? Where am I getting it from? Am I getting it from pollen? Was I born with it? Was it something I got from, my mother or inherited? And it's generally directed from the fact of how we've treated ourselves and the food choices we've made in our lifestyles. So glutathione is big. It's available out there. The one thing I find, which is my recommendation, I don't like to knock products per se, but you'll see, and I don't want people to be confused. I had a gentleman come up to one of my fairs, to one of my salespeople in Michigan. Reported the guy came up and he grabbed the glutathione that was on the table, topical glutathione, and he put it into his mouth and he squirted 3 squirts of the glutathione into his mouth. And he swallowed it, and just really quickly, because my salesperson was just standing back because she showed it to him to show him, but he immediately squirted it to try to test it. And my creams are not meant to be oral. They're not dangerous necessarily oral, but you'll see liposomal glutathione. Now, just figure this out. I'm using liposomes, and this is the important for understanding the distinction. You don't see that many liposomal topical creams.
mhm,
I've done this since 2009. And the reason I'm using it in a very specific way. I told you the phospholipid shell that this liposome holds my bioactives meets the phospholipid shell of a skin cell and blood cells, and it merges and delivers it to your cellular system and your systematic system in the blood. If you take it orally, they call it liposomal. It's using a different function, a type of liposome that's protecting and not releasing the glutathione until it gets farther down your gut. So that's the only function it's doing. It's trying to protect the glutathione, protecting. I'm not protecting my bioactives. I'm releasing my bioactives the minute it makes contact with your skin. That's why you rub my creams topically for 20 seconds. They're gone. They have basically diffused into your skin, into the blood cells, and they're now
mhm,
working into your circulatory system, tacking pain and going to work in the function of what they were made for, whether it's nitric oxide, pain relief, inflammation relief, or targeted pain relief for musculature or for the fascia. Glutathione orally, then in a liposomal form, is going to go maybe farther down your system, and then finally, it's exposed to the bile, to the
mhm.
hydrochloric acid. And now it's going through the digestive process. But once again, very difficult to absorb. Inflammation of the gut, you're missing out. So you're buying a pretty expensive product with the pretty much notoriously glutathione, and you can Google it, finds it's difficult to absorb. It's absorbed at a cellular level too. So it's very important to, when you get a blood test, to make sure you're finding, the levels of glutathione. It's very elusive. Sometimes a saliva test will show a better function of the level of glutathione you have than a blood serum test. So
Yep. Mhm.
just make sure, if you're trying to get what are my glutathione levels, make sure your doctor is effectively targeting to try to find glutathione levels. But the glutathione plus is an amazing cream.
Perfect. So I'll tell you what, Daniel, today there's a lot of questions. So Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's go through them together. So I've got one of them that says, what do you recommend for spider veins? Let me see if I've been paying attention. Flomax.
I'm just sorry, I missed it. What do I recommend for? I just
No, what do you recommend for spider veins? And I said, let me see if I've been paying attention.
spider veins. Yeah, spider veins.
Flomax.
Yeah. Spider veins are very good and are very effective and can be reduced by the NutraFlow Max. And the reason that is very quickly is because of the vasodilation. It opens up the blood flow. A lot of times the spider veins are just stuck blood in areas that it's not being released from. It's staying there. It's not moving, and they're dark and venous. What the L-arginine does, well, increase blood flow, clear that out, and also incorporate, make new fibroblasts, new skin fibroblasts to replace and thicken the skin.
Perfect. Next, my brother has an oversized prostate. Do you have anything to bring that down?
Yeah, so inflammation of the prostate is various things that have caused that. The NutraFlow Max also, once again, everything that is a healing in an aspect of when you have inflamed prostate, you've got an inflammation reaction. And typically that's from years of either sitting on or not moving around, inactivity, lack of working that Kegel muscle, and NutraFlow again, bringing in fresh blood flow, expanding the blood vessels to that area. Side effect of NutraFlow Max, well, you will have better erectile function. You will literally see your member, women and men will have better sexual function by the NutraFlow Max. It was formulated for that very reason, including niacinamide in it, zinc sulfate, and L-arginine. Excellent for that.
That's absolute. Here's one kind of long, kind of sad. My granddaughter is in her second year of crutches, wheelchair, confined to her bedtime a big part of the time, only able to eat 5 foods for 2 years now. She used to be an outdoor person, hiking mountains kind of person. Is there any help to get her moving, to change her digestive tract? The reason she's eating 5 foods now is because her digestive tract has pretty much came to a halt
Yeah.
because she's not moving. So is there anything that can, I would say, help get her blood moving and help get her pain going away so she can move around? Is there anything for that?
Yeah. No, that is the beauty of, the trauma. I mean, once again, the symptom, it's always interesting. What we like to talk about is people get sometimes a disease or something they think is the cause and effect. A lot of times, symptomatically is what's important. Is her movement painful? If she's got pain as she moves, the Trauma Max is the most beneficial because it has L-arginine and L-citrulline, which will be effective for her movements, blood flow. I mean, inability to move and the lack of movement is going to create that fascia,
Mhm.
tension, pain. So affiliating, let's remove pain first. So if she's
Mhm.
got pain in her feet, pain in her knees, pain in her hips, Trauma Max will bring blood flow, clear out inflammation, and allow her to move. Just one cream will do that. As far as dysfunction of her inability to really digest food properly, that's what's again, you're going back to the glutathione, like we talked, to detoxify. But the newer product that I've indicated for a lot of people that have just malabsorption, methylation issues, they just aren't eating proper foods.
Mhm.
The new organic green power that I presented to you guys, you have in the back office, is just so it's just this pre-digested probiotic, vitamin, nutrition, phytonutrients, all in one source that you can blend. It's the green lawnmower drink, but it is so
It is a
beneficial.
lawnmower drink.
Yeah, highly suggested to blend into the Atkins shake or any of those Ensure products, protein to, because I don't put sugar, I don't have preservative. It is clean, clean, clean. It is USDA certified organic. Every from seed to surface, it is completely organic, but I don't put any crap in it. So it is so beneficial for someone like her to get into a situation with a Atkins drink and something that's pre-digested. So really giving the liver everything it needs. And that is a complete wellness protocol. Could really,
And I will tell everybody here, when you get that greens program and you start drinking it, I'm just going to tell you, it is exactly greens. I mean, it's like tasting your yard. I'm just telling you, but I've always learned in my life anything that tastes bad is good for you. No. So, next question. What's best for eczema? Eczema.
eczema. Yeah. So once again, the 10% niacinamide is incredible for knocking that down. What's it mean? That'll be a root cause, inflammation of the gut. Those are always usually what's happening from, or, thyroid issues. But let's just assume inflammation of the gut, the direct result of that inability to digest. The 10% niacinamide, excellent for knocking down that. If you feel it needs a little moisturizing with it, the NutraFlow Max, beautiful. So you've got the vasodilation, blood flow clearing out, and the 10% niacinamide just knocks those skin rashes, irritations, which are the first time when you get those skin irritation, that's a gut reaction. That's
Mhm.
literally your inflammation coming through your skin telling you, I've got inflammation of the gut. That's usually where it comes from. It can be autoimmune generated, but it's generated from the gut, causing the autoimmune reaction.
Absolutely. Which cream is best for repairing or helping basal cells?
Basal cells. I mean, in the case in that of like a cancer application,
I guess that's all it says. So I'm
yeah,
going
the
to see
melatonin.
in the form of cancer, maybe like
Yeah,
basal
yeah.
cells.
Well, basal cell carcinoma is what I'm reflecting that
Yeah,
could be.
right.
Melatonin, incredible. Free
Mhm.
radical scavenger. I have skin cancer. I still have skin cancer. I had Mohs surgery, and then I did melatonin, and it's halted. It's frozen in its tracks. It's a free radical scavenger. It goes into your blood. That's what it does. Melatonin eats free radical scavengers. On a topical application of a little polyp or skin cancer,
Mhm.
apply the melatonin to that and tell me what if it doesn't heal and stop progressing. Now, I still have skin cancer. If I stop using my melatonin, I do take sun, my skin cancer will be right back. But I have it, I use it.
There you go. Uh, leg and ankle edema.
Yeah, edema, once again, to clear out the edema, it's inflammation, lack of circulation. Lack of circulation causes that edema, whether it's diabetic, neuropathy, but it's microcirculate, the inability for the blood to get there down to your extremity and return. It's lack of vascular health. And in that case, one of the key ones would be the NutraFlow Max. If you have pain at your ankles associated with that, the Trauma Max. It has the anti-inflammatories of L-arginine plus pain relief. But get that circulation of blood flow, utilize the NutraFlow Max. L-arginine, rub it on your ankles night and day. No toxic effect from that.
Perfect. Now I know this is going to be a long answer because I've heard you address this before, but we're down to 4 minutes left. So here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Will Flomax interfere with blood pressure meds or beta blockers?
NutraFlow Max, will it
Yes.
interfere?
Mhm.
In the way that it interferes is making them more effective. Okay, this is what's important. A lot of times, they just work better. More, I mean, it's a simpler way. I mean, you don't. I've got people off of that. Okay, I mean, that's what they don't want it. They want to stop it. They use an alternative NutraFlow to lower blood pressure, or they're trying to take these pharmaceuticals at the same time they're taking the NutraFlow Max. All I'm doing is increasing blood flow to these areas, and that makes them more effective. So if you're trying to mitigate or back off of these pharmaceuticals, that's the suggestion. Use half a prescriptive product. If you're getting results from Flomax, I mean, the only reason you're getting off Flomax is because you don't want to take it anymore. That's basically what people are thinking. Okay, so let's titrate off of that. And how you do it is by taking at the same time you're doing your Flomax, take half your dosage and apply Nutraflow at the same time and wean yourself off of that. Same situation with psychotic drugs or other things for Xanax, things like that for hypertension,
Yeah.
or blood pressure medications. Flomax, the same situation. It won't necessarily, it's not a contradiction in terms of danger. It just could make them work better. So go easy, go slow. But trying to do them in conjunction, say, well, I want my Flomax to work better. Yeah, take NutraFlomax.
But I understand. Doctors tell you don't use anything like that if you're using beta block. I understand because they want to
Yeah,
keep on medicine.
yeah.
But even with that
Coumadin,
said,
Coumadin, the same thing. Statins, Coumadin, the same thing.
yeah,
You
if
know,
you use another protocol for your blood pressure or whatever, all I'm going to tell you is stay on top of your numbers on blood pressure. And the
yeah,
reason is because they call it a silent killer for a reason.
yeah,
I'm just telling you. So what
absolutely.
about scars? Best way to get rid of scars?
10% niacinamide. Rub it all the time. You watch it fade. Watch it fade. Thanks to Cheryl Church on that one.
Yeah, Clara, I don't know if we have. I hope we do. What about hair loss?
Hair loss is really good. I mean, look at me. I just turned 70. B vitamin, B12, skin, hair, nails. B12, very, very, very effective. Basically rub it into your upper areas of where you're having it. I do have a serum that will come to formulation soon. I formulated it for a company, but they didn't go with it. But I will be formulating it. But it's a hair serum that's got copper, other ingredients in it, but specifically B12 is skin, hair, and nails. More hair. Yeah.
Daniel, if you put something together that grows hair, we're going to be rich. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
The,
I got some, I did it. It's a Canadian company I worked with. They didn't move forward with it, and they didn't move forward because they tried to patent it behind my back. So that's the reason. But now it was my formulation. I formulated for them. I just need to formulate. But since I formulated that, I've actually got more ingredients I want to put in it. So
I mean,
I
can you imagine our Zoom if we sent out a message across the United States? Join this Zoom, man. We have a formula that grows your hair back.
yeah.
Come on, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Last question from Richard. He said he went to his heart doctor, had a stress test done, and they want him to start taking Lipitor.
Hmm. Well, once again, I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking any doctors, but he's basically trying to get a statin to reduce cholesterol. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, that's essentially what he's trying to do. So, I mean, there's better ways to do that than a pharmaceutical. Like I said, if he's trying to reduce blood pressure or lowers cholesterol, you know, there's multiple ways to do that. I mean, lowering the cholesterol could be the green power to eat foods that are not saturated in fats, eat a better diet, blood flow, management of high blood pressure. They usually go hand in hand. I'm giving you, you got high cholesterol, you're not exercising, sedentary, and
Mm,
you got high blood pressure. Here's
mm.
Lipitor. And got another pharmaceutical for you too after this if that doesn't work. Try to do a healthy diet, exercise, and basically the trauma max, elevate your blood pressure, but elevate your blood flow, reduce your blood pressure. It'll clean out those
Yeah,
arteries.
yeah. And that's the same thing with the next question where it says, what about how to reduce strokes? It's
Yeah, yeah,
Nutraflow Max to get your blood flowing and kind of clear out everything. Vasodilator. I mean, isn't
One
that
thing
correct?
I will say, just an adjunct to that, for stroke to prohibit. Say if you got a carotid artery
Mhm.
inability, you're thinking about that. B12 oxygenates the blood and increases red blood cells. Okay. Now I have actual proof of folks that have had a stroke and they can't even talk to their wife. They can't remember her name and all that. They're on their way and they've literally rubbed B12 on them, got to the doctors. Their cognition was back. The doctor said, "You're in wonderful shape. I know you had a stroke. I can tell from measuring your heart,
Mhm.
the excitement of your heart, but you're in fabulous shape. What did you do?" Talked
Mhm.
about applying B12. I apply B12 every day for cognition, for brain function, for brain fog, but it's protecting me from a stroke. We're utilizing, some of my clinical doctors are utilizing B12 in rehabbing stroke victims. So
Mhm.
the brain had the stroke, lack of oxygen. Now it doesn't send that message to the right side of the body. The B12 is oxygenating the blood and they're recuperating movement. So rehabbing from a stroke, B12, preventing stroke, B12, oxygenates the
That's
blood.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, Daniel, as always, every 2 weeks, I get to say thank you very much for coming on and sharing your wealth of knowledge about what you do and being able to share it with us, and gives us the opportunity to feel even more comfortable about knowing a little bit more, because normally the people that come to these Zooms are the ones that has a health issue they would like to clear up other than
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
or they have someone they love and care about and they want to help them as much as they possibly can. And so this is just a different way to do that. But thank you for coming. I want to thank all of you for coming. And yes, this video, this recording will be made available probably tomorrow after it renders. I always, ladies and gentlemen, I always put it in the school community. I always put it on YouTube. And if you're in the Facebook, I'll always put it in and go, here's the link if you missed it. I always put it there. It's there in all three locations, and it's normally the day after. Sometimes I'll do it the day of, which I might do today. I don't know, but it will be there tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. Can I give a teaser here for the next Wellness Wednesday?
Yes, absolutely.
The lovely Kesia is joining us for Feminine Wellness Wednesday. And it's going to be a focus on progesterone, pro balance, how to use the creams, the 21 Again line, the cosmeceutical line that you carry, and just generally speaking, women's questions on health from the expert herself, Kesia Lyons.
So, ladies, bring all your girlfriends. Men, bring all your girlfriends, but don't tell your wife. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But bring all your girlfriends to this thing. It's going to be a Wellness Wednesday for women, the 3 W's: women, wellness, and winning. That's all I can tell you about that. So thanks again, everybody. Have a fantastic day. God bless all of you. Thank you again, Daniel. Truly appreciate you being here. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.